Hare Krishna, part 3 of chapter 14. And as I promised in the last two sessions, we're going to talk about where do people go when they die in a particular mode. We are under the influence of the world around us. It's a very subtle influence. We talk about these modes or these ropes, but there's no physical rope that's tying my arms, but my arms are bound. It's just limited as to what I can do. And when my arms do things that they shouldn't be, I'm going to get some kind of reaction. I'm conditioned. And we live, ultimately, we can choose which mode to live. And that is the benefit of being a human being, is that we have the free will to choose which mode to be in based on what activities we perform. And according to our activities, we then either elevate ourselves or degrade ourselves. Mode of ignorance is going down, mode of goodness is going up. And anyone who's interested in yoga, their idea was to elevate themselves, to come to the mode of goodness. But people at a certain point have to give up their bodies. We die. So what will be our destination when we die? Now Krishna says, Yada sattve pravridhetu pralayam yati deha brit tadottamam vidam lokam amalan pratipadyate. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. There is life on other planets, contrary to what scientists may or may not believe. But they're going there in their current state of consciousness, and therefore they see what their consciousness allows them to see. So there are higher planets. Here it's stated the planets of the great sages. There are great sages who live on higher planets, for instance, in Moon and other planets, and there are even beyond our solar system, of course, in the universe. There's so many planets. So one goes to those planets where people of higher consciousness, of similar inclination as ours, reside. Now, to be in the company of great sages, one has to have the desire for that, and one has had to live in a way that one deserves to attain that planet. And according to one's practice, then one gets a similar type of destination. This we already read in the 8th chapter, Yam Yam Bhapi Swaram Bhavam. Now, if someone practices Hatha Yoga, he may go to the planet of the Hatha Yogis, where the great Hatha Yogis reside. If someone practices Bhakti Yoga, then he or she may go to the planet where the great Bhakti Yogis reside. They may or may not have yet attained perfection. If someone is practicing Karma Yoga, then they may go to what is sometimes referred to as the heavenly planets, where those who have a similar type of inclination reside. So when one leaves this world in the mode of goodness, in short, you go up. What happens in the mode of passion? When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. That's human beings. That means you come back here. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Now, these are two very important things, right? First is that if you want to go to a better destination than what you're looking out the window, of course, when I'm looking out the window, I have a beautiful view of our temple in Krishna Valley. But if you're living in London, New York, Paris, and who knows where else, and you're thinking there must be better places than this, then don't die in the mode of passion. In other words, don't die chasing your dreams, unless your dream happens to be liberation and you're in the mode of goodness. Don't try to satisfy your senses or try to satisfy the senses of your family. You have to do your responsibility, but live by what you need, not pursuing these unlimited wants. So if you don't want to come back here in this human species, then don't live a passionate life. And if you live an ignorant life, now here's something which is often controversial amongst sort of spiritualists or those seekers. Sometimes there's this conception that once the soul achieves the human body, then he never falls down from there. But no, Krishna says you take birth in the animal kingdom. You fall down. An animal kingdom doesn't just mean birds, dogs, cats. It also means trees, blades of grass, and so on. Depending on how much absorbed we are in ignorance, we get a body which is characteristic of ignorance, because those in the animal kingdom and lower are all in the mode of ignorance automatically. They're not good. There may be some taints of goodness or passion, but they're not good. So, do we want to be animals? Do we want to be trees? We have to know what is the reaction to our activities, because if we don't know and we start acting in the wrong way and we degrade into this mode of ignorance, we may end up being just what Krishna here says, and that is we may end up one of the residents of the animal kingdom. And that's not someone who wants liberation wants, because once you get down there, then once again, it takes many lifetimes to come back up. So say, for example, that someone dies in ignorance and becomes a dog, and between a dog and a human, there's like another 100 bodies, then you have to take another 100 births to keep coming back up. And it's a dog's life. So some dogs live well nowadays, other dogs don't. In India, they're out on the street and they're all strays. In China, they eat them. So you don't want to be a dog. And in any case, dogs don't make any advancement spiritually. They don't practice yoga. They don't chant mantras. So we don't want to be in that situation. And therefore we have the choice, and I'm just concluding this talk now to remind us that we have the choice which mode to be in based on what activities we choose. The activities that we choose, that will determine which mode that we're under. And once again, the mode of goodness is that mode which is liberating and which is conducive for spiritual practice. Hare Krishna.